Details into another foiled assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump.
A Las Vegas man was arrested at a security checkpoint near Trump's California campaign rally Saturday. According to investigators, he was illegally in possession of a shotgun, loaded handgun, and a high-capacity magazine. The man has been identified as 49-year-old Vim Miller. Investigators say he entered the outside perimeter with documentation showing he was invited into the rally. Once Miller approached the inside perimeter, that's when a Riverside County Sheriff's deputy noticed several things that were out of place. Eventually, it led to the deputy doing a thorough search.
He approached the outside perimeter, gave all indications that he belonged there, that he was a participant that was allowed to get into VIP and to and a press corps, and so he was allowed through that outer perimeter. As he got to the inside perimeter, where deputies were conducting obviously a more thorough evaluation of the vehicles that were coming in, there were many irregularities that popped up. The deputy noticed that the interior of the vehicle was in quite disarray. The vehicle had an obviously fake license plate, and that prompted further investigation from our deputy.
Now, also, according to the Sheriff's Department, Miller had several passports and driver's licenses in his possession, all with different names. The black SUV Miller was driving was unregistered, and the license plate was homemade and part of the group who claimed to be sovereign citizens. Miller is a registered Republican that tried to run for state assembly in Nevada. That was back in 2022. He was released on a $5,000 bail and has to appear in court January 2nd.
I took two things that I love.
Well, failed assassination attempt or false flag. You be the judge. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this guy was not attempting an assassination attempt here. And I know with as many times as Trump has almost, I mean, there's been 3 attempts now, not including this one. So this guy, his name is Vip, right? Vim?
Yeah, no, Vim.
Vim.
His name is Vim Miller.
Vim Miller.
V-E-M. Vim.
Invader Vim is what we'll call him from now on.
Yeah, he is a weird dude. He just strikes me as a guy that's kind of an attention seeker, libertarian type, because I've done a lot of research on him this morning and some last night, that he's just a wacky kind of libertarian guy that tries to run for office, and he seems like he just goes around meeting people trying to upgrade his social media platform, basically.
Sounds like every libertarian ever.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so jokes aside, the guy has been at multiple. He was at the Republican convention this year.
Yes.
He has pictures with Vivek Ramaswamy. He has pictures with Jordan Peterson. Yes, he has pictures with J.D. Vance. He has pictures with RFK. Look, he's been in very, very secured locations before. He's had plenty of opportunities to do things. Why do the police think now? And I think it's because he was in California, and California has very strict gun control policies. So this guy's from Nevada. Like, he probably doesn't have a very big house or a lot of place to live. He just keeps his guns in his trunk. And as we know, if you take certain weapons to certain states, some of those states don't deem those weapons as okay to have in those states, even though the Constitution would disagree. But this is, and a lot of people have tags that don't match up to their car. I'm sure this guy's probably not the most secure financially. So how many people do, what is something like 30 or 40% of drivers in this state are driving around uninsured. So what's to stop these uninsured motorists from having bad tags or anything like that? So I think this is an overzealous police department who is excited to tote the fact that they were responsible for something or taking responsibility for preventing something that probably wasn't actually going to happen. But I don't know. I don't know this guy's heart. I don't want to say in this guy's head. But I think that police department is jumping to some pretty major conclusions. All because of the state that it was located in. So, what do you think, Chad? Am I kind of on the right track here, or?
Yes, I would say yes and no. you know, the thing that nobody realizes is one is like everyone kind of like jumps the gun when it comes to these sovereign citizen things, and the other thing is they even the
Well,
news
that's
as
one
you
thing.
just
Yeah.
saw claim that this sovereign citizen thing is a right wing extremist group. That is not true. There are sovereign citizen groups that are more right wing, but I have seen so many like liberal hippie types that are in sovereign citizen that literally are getting about to get arrested for having like a person in their car that has an expired visa, or like they just claim that they're a sovereign citizen getting arrested. I mean, and they just call it it's things. Sovereign citizen is just something that people exclaim when you're getting arrested or for doing something, or you're being prosecuted for something,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have a lot of like say to it.
Not a lot
But
of bona fides or gravitas.
exactly, but it's the whole two cents. Like, I'm a sovereign citizen. I'm a sovereign citizen. Like, I've seen left wing sovereign citizens. I've seen right wing sovereign citizens, and they always peg it as every single sovereign citizen group is right wing. Like, I mean, when we go back in the history books, like I think 10, 20 years from now, I think that they will be claiming that Antifa was a far right, extremist group in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's what I think's going on, and I think that's what this guy was. I mean, I have a video here that I'm about to pull up, which give me just a second. I'm gonna put it up on the multi-screen here, real quick. Full screen it. There we go, and then I will transition. And yeah, this guy, here he is. This is him. This is Vim Miller. And this is him at the RNC convention just this year. I mean, in this video, you'll see he gets within inches of Donald Trump Jr. and doesn't do anything. So I don't think he was possibly there for an assassination attempt. Like you said, I just think he's a guy that likes to play with the rules. Like he goes, "Oh, I thought, because here at this convention, he's like, I'll just play it." But I said he's talking about how like there's no cash. Like I said, everything has to be card only or electronically done. And he's pissed off about it. He's like, "Why aren't we doing cash? This is the RNC. Aren't we acknowledging cash?" And I think this is the same thing here. I think he was probably a political stunt with him being there, being like, I thought the conservatives or the Republicans were the Second Amendment people. Why am I being arrested for having guns?
Yeah.
So that's what I think this is. I think it's a political stunt on his behalf, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out more information. Maybe we'll find a mysterious letter that says, he has this intent, but we'll find out. So I'll play this video, but here he is walking around at the Republican National Convention.
So one thing I don't get is that everything at this convention, at the Republican National Convention, is cashless. This whole place is cashless. So I don't know. See, that's the Republican National Convention behind me. Wonderful people, wonderful time. Just not happy that it's all cashless. Thank you guys.
Inches. Look at that. Now if his dad's the target, here he is taking pictures with all of the, right-wing people.
There's Vivek,
at
yeah.
the National Convention. Vivek Ramaswamy, Jordan Peterson, and this is where it always freezes. I think there's more people. Like he has pictures with RFK. I mean, I could go through a whole list of people. I'll pull up I'll minimize this and pull back up the other one real quick. But yeah, as you can see,
The stills. Yeah.
Yeah, there he is with Owen Schroyer, who's part of Alex's Jones's crew of the InfoWars. There he is with RFK Jr. There he is with
Russell Brand.
So he's going to these places and taking pictures with super high profile people. I don't know who these guys are. It says Roger and Travis Ebarb. I don't know who that is. Maybe I'm a bad person, but
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's going on. So he's clearly just
He's a clout chaser.
yeah, he's kind of a clout chaser.
He's kind of like doing what we're doing, but he's doing it in an odder way.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I found out. And like, as you saw there with the whole, like, talking about using cash at the RNC, he's the type of guy that seems to be like, he likes to play loose with the rules. Like, that's the thing. Conservatives and Republicans will follow whatever rules are told to them by the organization. I'm sure, the event venue was like, we're cashless since COVID. I mean, how many places have been cashless since COVID? I know that our office here is still cashless. We don't take cash or checks anymore. We have to do
And
them
I
all
don't foresee the
electronically.
company ever going back to it again. They don't even have a bank that operates here in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's like, ironically, during this huge move for cashless and, where the government and businesses are trying to push for everything to be electronically done, we have COVID, which forces everything to be electronically done. So very odd.
Yeah, I mean, and it is a reasonable concern. Like, a lot of these people are like, look, if we go to a cashless society, they can freeze your bank accounts. You never have anything. This is why a lot of people still keep money hidden under their bed. They bury it in their backyard. Like, they don't trust the government, And now, if you live in a cashless society, you will literally. I mean, they've taken people's banks away because they've disagreed with their politics.
Yep. But yeah, if this guy is some type of crazy guy, this is going to be used because now here he is, of course, with James O'Keefe and Jack Posobiec, or of course, Jack Posobiec is more of a right-wing commentator, news guy, and then James O'Keefe, of course, is the greatest undercover journalist known to man, at least in the United States today.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be used as fuel by Democratic
see, it's always the right that's trying to kill each other, never us. It's like, okay, yeah, the left wing has done more violence ever. But again, nothing happened. Nothing happened. They got this guy. I think this is overzealous policing in California. This guy came in, had guns in his trunk, and he's just a libertarian type that goes, I'm a sovereign citizen. I can carry my weapons wherever I want. I haven't really ever heard of people getting their vehicles checked before you go into an event, but I mean, I guess anything's possible. Especially now that especially that Donald Trump's been nearly assassinated 3 times, they're going to be starting to do more advanced security checks. But yeah, I think the California police were like going, "Why'd you bring these here?" And they said, "Well, these are illegal in the state, so you're coming with us."
Yep.
And again, this guy has had plenty of opportunities to hurt high-profile right-wing figures. Yep. He seemed like he was having a pretty good time at the Republican convention.
Oh, yeah.
So why would he... I don't think there's any motive here.
Yeah. And again, here's another thing that this girl posted as well. J Sweet, looks like L-I or Lee, I don't know, but whatever. It's Jacqueline Sweet. She says, Miller has sued at least 3 different banks in the recent years for a number of claims like fraud, harassment, and involuntary servitude. So that does strike me as a hardcore libertarian type because, conservatives understand a contract. You honor a contract and you sign it. So this guy strikes me as more of a libertarian who's just a Republican in party alone, just because he sees he's more aligned with,
Republican values than Democrat values, for sure.
But yeah, that's what I say this is, because when you say indentured servitude, a bank or a contract of a business is making you an indentured servant, that sounds like liberal, like communist type thing. Like, the man's got me down, bro. That type of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say this is definitely like a false flag. I'd say, I think he's the type of guy that goes around pointing out like hypocrisies in the Republican Party. So like, I think that's what this is. I think he will probably jump on the bandwagon of, I thought you guys were pro Second Amendment, man. We're not. You guys are the party.
And it comes down to where the venue won't allow it or the insurance won't allow it. It's like the Republicans are fine with it, but like I said, the venue will be like, no, we're an anti-gun venue. Or the insurance company will be like, no, you're not. We're not going to allow people with guns in this place, or we're not going to insure your event. That's how it comes. That's what it's coming down to. So again, I think this is overzealous policing. That's why this guy is out already. He only had like a $5,000 bail. So maybe the left is right on this one. It's maybe more of a, just something to get in the headline news. I think this is just, again, a Democrat-run California police precinct being like, hey, we stopped an assassination attempt. We're going to get more funding and get our names all over the news. That's what this might be.
It could easily be that, and I'm partially in agreement with you on that. But yeah, just like, look at all these things. He's been to several events, and nothing bad has happened. Now, you're saying that maybe he's just trying to get as close as he can to Donald Trump before he pulls anything. Maybe. But He seems awfully chummy with these people.
He's scouting different locations, too. It's like, if you're going to do something, you have to do what that kid that did the shooting in Pennsylvania did. You have to go out there, range find it, and do all that. Like, this guy is going to multiple different venues, multiple different events, interviewing high-profile people. Like, what's the point of cultivating those relationships if you're going to try to assassinate the president?
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, he clearly met with several prominent, right-wing commentators, politicians, figureheads, whatever you want to call them. But and nothing bad has happened yet. Yep, there he is with Gorka. I mean,
Yep,
was that him with Vance right there?
Probably.
That wasn't Vance, but that was what's his name? The guy that just got arrested. There is Gorka, Sebastian Gorka. I mean, yeah. So he just seems like he's a more libertarian leaning podcasting type guy.
Yeah.
To me. And he's trying to be controversial to make a name for himself. I mean, what's going to make more of a name for yourself than, showing up to a Trump rally with a bunch of firearms in your vehicle, looking suspicious. He even said that he was acting suspicious. So something tells me he was probably doing all this stuff on purpose to get his name out there, because now he is the top, not the top. I mean, most of the mainstream media news outlets aren't even really talking about this. But yeah, he's like the top news story, at least in the conservative circles of most of the Fox News and some of the bottom stories of the print articles, which, who gives a crap about print anymore?
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, we'll jump off this. I think this is a false flag. I think it's overzealous policing and over paranoia with the multiple assassination attempts done on Donald Trump. So I don't think this guy is what they think he is. I think this police station is taking credit and, being like, we saved the day, Yeah. We did it, Patrick. We saved the city.
Yeah, and the city's destroyed in the background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not wrong. But the next couple things I pulled up is a couple of things of J.D. Vance. You sent one and I sent one.
Yeah.
And the media is really trying to make J.D. Vance seem like an idiot and seem stupid when he has some of the best takes. But of course, it's like what they would call cheap fakes now, where they take a small clip out of context, they don't show the full context of it, and they go, look what J.D. Vance
J.D.
said.
thinks that women should only be moms, ignoring the fact that his wife is a really successful contract lawyer.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, I think women are better suited at being mothers, but that doesn't mean they can't have a career too. My wife is trying to figure out a balance between both, and she's having a very hard time doing it. But they just go, JD thinks women belong in the kitchen and only there. It's like, okay, thank you for willfully misrepresenting that. But again, they're trying to make normal crazy. They're trying to make reasonable positions that on the right seem like, enslavement. Like, it's just nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you're ready, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and make sure I'm all up and available. Yep, we're good. All right, I'm playing this one.
Understand what you're saying, that some people left behind, but he's making these statements that the mayor is flat out disputing.
Well, Martha, you just said the mayor said they were exaggerated.
Grossly exaggerated.
That means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Okay, let's just end that with they did not
Let's just
invade
agree
or
to
take
disagree.
over the city, as Donald Trump said.
She had
I
to
want to
get
move
the
on.
last word in right there to make herself sound like she's the smart one.
This man, J.D. Vance, crapped on this woman from such a height, she probably thought it was God himself crapping on her.
Really. I mean, that's really what it is. Like, bad things are happening in these communities. They said a handful of apartment complexes got taken.
Trump said mean words.
Mm-hmm. But Trump said mean words, and here we are. She admits that it's true. A handful of things is happening, which is bad. I mean, apartment complexes, even if it's just a handful, being taken over by immigrant gangs, illegal immigrant gangs, is bad, is very bad, and it's going to be extremely bad for the people who have to live around it. But her and her ivory tower, home, probably guarded by gates and security.
It's the
she's
rhetoric
fine.
that's more important than the actions. Again, it's the opposite with the Democratic Party and all their Democratic affiliates. It's like, actions speak louder than words. Well, words can sometimes speak louder than actions depending on who's saying them. Like, are you dumb, lady? Like, there are people in this nation suffering due to this border policy, and you're just like going, well, Trump's saying very bad stuff, and his rhetoric is lies. And only a handful of apartments have been stormed by Venezuelan gangs. Only, again, J.D. Vance, perfect. I mean, he's like, did you hear yourself? Only a handful.
Yeah.
Like, one would be too many, but a handful of apartment buildings have been taken over.
One sexual assault is too many that we have to have, rape
Me Too
democracy.
movement.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Me Too movement. But if only a handful of apartment complexes are taken over by migrants, that's just, that's
just the price of democracy.
That's just the price of diversity.
Remember, all cultures are equal.
100%.
God, it's insane. Insane. I mean, the fact that woman speaks, but that goes to show you, journalists are so low IQ. Like, that conversation was so profoundly stupid. Like, you are awarded no points, and everyone in this room is now dumber for having heard it.
And may God have mercy on your soul. Yeah, here's this next one you sent me. How to Handle a Conversation with Leftists 101 by J.D. Vance. Oddly satisfying. Now, I've actually seen a bunch of takes by the left-wing people on this, and they just say that J.D. Vance refuses to answer questions. That's how they do this. And, he brings up a good point, but the journalist is like, I'm not answering your question. I'm here to I'm here to ask the questions.
Yeah. I'm here.
You will do as I say.
The debate will be had, but it will be had on our terms.
Mm-hmm. Classic left-wing,
Crap. It's crap. Again, this is why the left has dominated culture for so long. We will have the debate, but we will have the debate on our terms. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to mute your mic. We'll be able to censor or edit the conversation in post with like Katie Couric and the whole gun control debate. We have control over you. We have the power. We have the institutions. The debate will always be had on our terms. So unless it's live and you're watching it firsthand, you're always going to assume the person on the left wins.
Yeah. All right. Well, here this one is, and it's going to be good. Let's check it out.
Lose the 2020 election.
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said it cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator
I think that's
Vance,
the question.
I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020
And I've answered
election?
your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying, which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete, a problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies...
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote, I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no. And the last question, will you support the election results this time and commit to a peaceful transfer of power?
Well, first of all, of course, we commit to a peaceful transfer of power. We are going to have a peaceful transfer of power. I, of course, believe that peaceful transfer of power is going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States. But if there are problems, of course, in the same way that Democrats protested in 2004 and Donald Trump raised issues in 2020, we're going to make sure that this election counts, that every legal ballot is counted. We've filed almost 100 lawsuits at the RNC to try to ensure that every legal ballot has counted. I think you would maybe criticize that. We see that as an important effort to ensure election integrity, but certainly we're going to respect the results in 2024, and I feel very confident they're going to make Donald Trump the next president. Okay.
Did Donald Trump lose?
I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Like, if that, just listen to the irritation, the petulant child that woman is having this conversation. Again, not willing to engage. She goes, we're going to have this conversation the way I saw this conversation going in my head, and if it doesn't happen the way I want it to, I'm just going to throw a fit and be like, the answer is no. The answer is no. I mean, it's just pathetic. It's sad. I mean, those are valid concerns JD has brought up, and they're just like, no, 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 no. That's not right. That's not right. None of the courts were able to track anything. It's like, okay, but we all know fraudulent things happen all the time, every year in every election.
Yep.
Even Republicans got caught, but that's the only thing they publicize is when Republicans get caught doing it.
Yep.
They don't care whenever the left does it. It's like, oh, no, it's fine because the ends justify the means.
Yeah. And
as long as we win, it's okay.
And with all the stuff that we've shown that they're literally making it to where illegal immigrants can vote, that's the reason. Like, everyone's like, illegal immigrants can't vote. Illegal immigrants can't vote. But if you're going to grant every single illegal immigrant that comes to the United States amnesty, that's illegal immigrant voting right there.
And even if they were not the hyper-weaponized voters that came here, guess what? You still get congressional seats based off total population, not voter population.
Yep.
There are Democrat seats in Congress right now based off of illegal immigrant total population.
Yeah. I mean, what was that? The first time in history they're worried about California losing a bunch of seats because of how many people left the state.
Yeah.
And they haven't done a census. It's not like we've had a new census yet.
Yeah.
They'll probably be the state that's like, we don't need to do census anymore. We just want to keep our political, electoral count number.
Yeah. Pathetic, man. It's gross.
Yes, but that's what's going on with that, and with all the stuff going on where they're actually signing people, illegal aliens, and people that are just non-residents up to vote. It's wild. I mean, we've seen so many of these, from James O'Keefe to Roseanne Barr to other media outlets, independent media outlets that are Twitter exclusives and whatever else. Like, they're finding fraudulent either moving of children or people registering to vote that don't have the right to vote. And then two, the Democrats send hundreds of lawyers to these states. Like, I mean, that's what happened in Arizona. Mm-hmm. They said, hey, you have a bunch of fraudulent votes that we want to be cleared off.
And the lawyers go down there and go, no, you don't have enough time to deconfirm these votes. So you just have to push them on through. Mm-hmm. Because legally speaking, this is the way this is worded in this document here. We must let it go through.
Yep. But hey, that's what they're doing, they're using the rule. They make rules that cheat, and then like with the what's it called, the
Ballot harvesting
and like the early voter thing. Like, I think voting should be done in person, and you should have an ID.
Yeah, I'm totally for making voting a national holiday. Close down all the offices.
Yeah, make it a national holiday, and you have to have an ID, a valid ID, and I would even say like go to the point where you have to have two.
Yeah,
two valid IDs, and then you have to confirm your address and all that other stuff when you walk in the door.
Yeah, I mean, I would even go as far as say, like, look, whenever you're like, I run insurance credit on people. Like, if let's say they just moved here, I have to have their previous address. You should have that. Like, especially if somebody just moved here, it's like, how long have you lived at this address? Less than 2 years? What was your previous address? We have to know. We have to verify you that way. You can do it. It can be done. We have the technology in our systems here in the insurance industry.
Yep.
Like, they know where your address is. Like, it'll pull up all of your information. Like, oh, yeah, this person has lived here forever.
I mean, they talked about that with the police department thing, and one of the updates that they had, they go, when a police officer pulls you over just from your tag, they know if you have a valid driver's license and whether your tag or anything else is out of date or not. Now, granted, they know that because they can see the tag on the back of the license plate, but, they have all that information just from pulling up your tag.
Yep. It's pretty neat. So, I mean, technology's come a long way. Like, and they're just saying they're keeping the voting stuff in the Stone Age because they want to weasel as many, again, unregistered voters in as they possibly can. I'm kind of the Starship Trooper mindset. Service guarantees citizenship.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you have no skin in the game, why should you be allowed to vote? You should have to either be a landowner, have kids, and have served. Those would be things that would actually make people have skin in the game. It's like, if you're a property owner, yeah, you're darn right you're going to care about property taxes. You're going to care about the people who don't. Like, you have people who are like going, I just want to benefit from other people's tax dollars. Okay, well, yeah, you're really a outstanding citizen in our society, ain't you? It's just pathetic, man. Anyway, that's about all I've got for you today. We just wanted to kind of go over the craziness that's been going on out there in the world, like I said, with this one. And like I said, we think we got a red flag here. We don't think this was actually a genuine assassination attempt. We think this is a red flag one here. So, but anywho, we're going to end out the show with a little funny thing here. But this is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
It's not quite right. How do you give it back?
Governor, what kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta A400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trout because it has a